Okay. So hopefully he'll get back on. And I'm just very grateful everybody at the very last moment is, totally willing to jump into this adventure with me and see how it goes. So who we've got here, several of the people are my friends, who live here in Arizona. Some of the people are characters in the book. So if you can see, who's ever watching the video, Barry, my friend Barry Levin, Barry was my boyfriend back in, well, we've been friends for 42 years, but he was my boyfriend in the beginning days when we first went to Ramtha together, and he was with me when we met Saint Germain as the bum in the park. He was with me for that. So Barry's one of the, main characters in the book and those stories. And then I left New York. We kind of ended our dating romantic relationship. And then years later, Barry finally moved to the West Coast and actually lived a couple different times as a roommate with me in different situations. So, and then he worked for me part-time. So, we've just kind of hung in there together. And I'll have each one of you speak in a moment. And then Claire, Heartsong. Claire, who's kind of been in retreat for like 17 years, and people keep asking me about her. And Claire is finally here for all of you to see that she's alive and kicking and looks good and is hanging in there. And now, those of you watching the video, if you don't know who Claire is, she's the author that channeled Anna, grandmother of Jesus. And you can share a little bit about that story when it comes your time to talk if you want. And then, part of the whole story of raising my frequency is all about the back end story of how the universe eventually put me together with Claire. And we co-authored The Voice of the Magdalens together and Twin Flame Union, The Ascension of Saint Germain and Portia. So Claire has a major part in the book, obviously. And then Greg is the other person. Greg Hutchins is my friend. We reconnected after about 20 years because I had to get permission from all of these people that ended up being characters in the book to use their real names. So fortunately, Greg and I reconnected, and he's now my tech hell mentor. Anyway, of tech hell. So
tech hell.
Yeah. So he's been great. And then Greg also, I worked for him for about a year back in, when was it, 2000? 2000? 2000, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how you knew, but you were the first person that recognized my writing ability. I had no idea. How did you even know I could write? I mean...
Well, you thought logically, you thought spiritually, and you had great karma. So you put all those things together and, you become a voice.
Okay. I mean, we're talking about 22 years ago.
But still, it's innate. I think people have that ability. It's a God-given ability, I think, and you have it.
Yeah. But, I didn't know it then. He's the first person, that commented that I just have this natural ability to write. And I'm going, I'm not a writer. I'm a dancer. How'd you even know that? Basically. So.
In writing, there are really two things that people have or they don't have. One, point of view. It could be a channel. It could be a different thing, but a point of view is an innate ability. And the second thing is pacing. Pacing is the ability to grab people by the throat and get them to commit, to engage, to be interested. And you had both. and you can hear it.
Yeah, well, I'm very grateful. It was news to me back then. So anyway. And who else? And then my friends, Diane Light, Heather Clarke, and Jan Deeter, are friends of mine that live here in Arizona. And Heather runs the Arizona Enlightenment group, the metaphysical group that's been meeting for years. And Jan and Heather live together in their as roommates. And Diane has just been a good friend, and
we all got the memo to wear purple tonight.
And what?
All three of your friends from Phoenix got the memo to wear this color tonight.
Yes.
Yes. You did.
We're in the club.
Yeah. So I don't know where Salvatore is.
He's not coming. He's probably swearing.
Oh. No, he tried to call me. I'll call him back. So anybody want to start with anything before I read? Well, I'm talking to Salvatore. So are you in Tech Al? Yeah.
I can't believe what I did. I forgot that it asks for permission to use your camera and mic, and you have to allow. But usually I hit block if it's something that's going to my computer. And I accidentally automatically hit block instead of allow. So I rebooted it, and I think I'm almost on. Just give me one second.
I'm going to hang up the phone because we're already on and recording. So just checking in with you. Okay, great. I'm going to hang up the phone. Bye.
There he is.
There he is. Yay.
With his beautiful garden in the back.
Yes. So now let me find the email. Okay.
Look what he's got on, you guys. All the Phoenix people wore this color of purple.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Except me.
I
didn't get the memo.
Oh well, you're the guest of honor. Yeah.
Yeah. So before I start reading people's endorsements, does anybody have anything they want to say or share? I figure I'd start there.
Go.
Okay. So how do you want me to do this? Do you want me to read the endorsement and then have whoever wrote it share?
That's good.
Okay. We start with Claire.
You're up.
Well, you're the top one, that's why. So Catherine Ann Clemett gives the Christ Magdalene energies a voice for this time of inner and outer chaotic change. In telling her life story, she fearlessly reveals herself with humor and compassion. Resolute, courageous wisdom rises forth from her lived experience, providing you with a down-to-earth reflection of what it means to embody your divine impulse to awaken. Reading these pages may catalyze you to discover your own intrinsic liberating wisdom. This may help you trust the familiar inner knowing that intuitively knows how to fearlessly embrace every opposing, resistive obstacle to being the love you already are. This is the way of the Christ Magdalene. So you're muted. Unmute.
Thank you, Catherine Mann.
Yeah, thank you. And what I was after you read it in like 2.5 days, I couldn't believe it,
Wow.
And then she said it was so much energy and information. She had to go like rest for a couple days to integrate it. So then after she called called me up and she asked me if I would be okay if she wrote an afterword. And I'm going, well, yeah, sure. It never even occurred to me to have a foreword or an afterword by somebody else. So Claire wrote the afterword. And then I thought, okay, if I have an afterword, I have to find somebody to write a foreword. And I thought about Finbar, but I knew he was doing his tours and stuff. And then I, just kind of went inside and talked to my guides, and they kept dropping the name of Dr. Christiane Northrup in, and I'm like, really? Okay. So I reached out thinking I would never get a response, right? And I did get a response from her assistant and said that she couldn't write a foreword, but if I sent her the manuscript, she might consider doing an endorsement. So, which I just got last week, by the way.
Good.
Which is fabulous. It was a fabulous endorsement. Yeah. So anyway,
read it to us, Catherine Ann, because it's really lovely.
Okay.
The whole thing, not the abbreviated version.
Yeah, I gotta find it though.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let someone else.
Never mind if this isn't the appropriate time.
No, I just have to find where I emailed it to somebody. I think I sent it.
You emailed it to me.
Okay. I did email it to you. Okay.
You did.
You could tell I was really prepared for all of this.
Yeah, just like I was.
Yeah.
Catherine?
Yeah.
If you can't find it in the next few minutes, I would suggest maybe you email it to all of us after we finish tonight.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I would
Good
love
idea.
to read it, actually. I know we all have a lot of respect for Dr. Northrup.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous.
And would Claire like to continue where Catherine Ann left off? Because you said you were going to read her endorsement and then Claire would do her comment. So why don't we continue just to keep the flow?
Right. Thank you, Salvatore. Yeah, it's been truth is stranger than fiction journey. I think Catherine Ann and I, our lives mirror each other in very distinct and different ways, and yet there are some remarkable similarities in our karmic journeys and the energies that interdimensional energies that we are strongly connected with. And one of those energies, of course, and I think all of us here are feel very close to Saint Germain. Catherine Ann contacted me because after reading the On a Grandmother book, she said, I'd really like to talk to you because I've never met anyone who also had an experience of Saint Germain in a physical body. So that was a huge turning point in my life. The experience happened in October of 1987 in the Tetons. And I won't go into that, but I continue to experience a very close heart connection with the energy field. Because it's so expansive, we can't limit it to an individualized, localized focus, because that energy is vast and it's ever present with us in a way that sometimes takes us through some very challenging initiations, but those initiations are always come to us out of a place of deep and profound love and honoring of our humanity and our divinity. So then, of course, the experience of being with Anna and the family is near and dear to me, continues in my life, even though I'm no longer active in the way that I once was. So I'm continue to be on a deep spiritual awakening journey and doing a lot of healing, really going and doing a lot of shadow work, because I've found that sometimes there's a tendency for myself to go into spiritual bypass and be in denial of the aspects of my childhood, especially. And that's an area where Catherine and I share some similar experiences that have motivated us to open ourselves to the more. It's been a deep and abiding quest to know and to be the more that we are, that I am. Mm-hmm. So I think that's enough. Yeah, feel free anytime that you would like to ask me questions later on, if that's appropriate.
Okay. Thank you. So before we move on to next, I found the full endorsement from Dr. Northrup. He said, "Raising my frequency is the quintessential hero's journey back to God and source. Beautifully written through the author's own experience, it brings profound spiritual truths right into the day-to-day life. As such, it is a field manual for what must be done in day-to-day life to bring heaven to earth. This is a book for our current great awakening here on our planet." Christiane Northrup, MD, New York Times bestselling author of Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, The Wisdom of Menopause, and Goddesses Never Age. So, yeah.
Go women power. She's really good. I love her.
Yeah. So anyway, that was really
nice job.
Unexpected. I didn't think I would get it from her, but anyway, I'm very grateful. Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let me see who's next here. Except I have to find it again. Mm-hmm. So you guys can talk while I'm looking.
Talk among yourself.
I'll share a little story while you're looking. So yeah. I've been a caregiver for about the last 20 years. Came from software field as a programmer, 180-degree turnaround, which is interesting. That's a story unto itself. Anyway, my 90-year-old client, she was like into Christiane Northrup. She got PBS videos galore, and then she wanted me to watch it. I didn't know who the heck she was at the time. And I would sit and watch it, and I would be totally hooked. And I was like, this woman is brilliant. And Jean, my client, was like, she couldn't get enough. And she'd have her daughter order more and more videos, through PBS. So I've always had so much admiration for her ever since. And that's great, Catherine, that she wrote a beautiful piece right there for you. That's really awesome.
And she's totally on the completely way out there page that we're all on. I mean, really. And she did an interview that I listened to this morning with Scott McKay. Talk about it's going to blow people's socks off. I mean, she's talking about off planet and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, it's a
Wow.
fabulous video, and I'm going to post it on my my improved functioning webpage on my frequency raising site. I'm posting frequency challenge videos and things we can do to help videos on that page. So I'm going to post that video maybe tonight before I go to bed. So anyway. So the next one is Marilyn Harper. And since Marilyn's not here, I'll go Diane. You're next. So intrigue, comedy, danger, and most of all, insightful. Catherine has chronicled her life in a way that grips the reader. The stories and experience that molded the awakening of this remarkable woman is nothing short of amazing. In her succinct way, Catherine Ann shows us how awakening begins by realizing that synchronicity of thought and action are the building blocks to awareness. Each moment builds on the next. The awakening comes when we get to the moment we understand that synchronicity will continue on, and there is nothing we need do but trust and have faith that all is a part of the bigger picture. Each piece is part of the whole. I recommend this book to anyone that has any doubt that the pieces aren't perfectly orchestrated by a power outside of ourselves.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
Wow, that's really good. I wrote that. Wow. Thank you for reading that. I really needed to revisit that. That's awesome. Yeah, I too, as I was reading your book, we've walked many of the same paths. And one of them is somebody told me I was a writer, and I said, I'm not a writer, I'm a dancer. So when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I can relate. But what I loved, I think, the way that we all have a story. We all have a past and we all have a story. And I love how you brought that story in with such truth and such vigor that as to open the reader's mind to be able to see that, in hindsight, we can usually go back and see, oh yeah, in hindsight, I realize that that this happened so that this could happen, so that this could happen, so that this could happen, right? So that hindsight is great for all of us. But when you read a book, as you wrote, then excuse me, I'm recording this video. I'm on a recording. Okay. And so, but that hindsight, that trust, it's what happened when you really began to trust and you began to see that you might not understand what was happening in the moment. You might not have understood the people that you were meeting and why this was happening. But as you moved further and further along in the book, it was beautiful how that awakening and that awareness really started and really came into fruition as to, oh, I don't even have to know because I know that this is happening for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. And that was that whole awakening and awareness. And I love the way that you put it together. Plus, it was just really fascinating. Some of the stuff you went through, girl. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know.
So
it was a little painful at times.
It was a little painful at times, is right. So yeah, so it was really, really great. I feel really honored to had a firsthand look at the book, and I'm excited for others to get a hold of it and read it so that they too can see, that there's just a whole. My brother said to me one time, "You don't believe what's happening to me. This, and it's all the stuff about synchronicity, right?" And I said, "Honey, that just tells you you're on the right path. That's all synchronicity is, right? Just tells us that we're exactly where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there." So thank you for bringing your story to the world, Catherine Ann. I think that's really great.
Thank you, Diane. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things, when the other side won't leave you alone. I mean, they're like poking you. Like, okay, I have to do it. So I stopped getting,
Right. That's right.
What is she talking about? I don't know. She's talking another language, the other side, leaving us alone.
Sure.
I don't think any
Yeah.
of us understand.
These people don't know who you are, Salvatore.
Not well, that's true.
They will.
We have medium by design. I mean, channels the most amazing, information from all kinds of people from the other side, from celebrities. And I mean, and it's always like the most incredible spiritual information, not the way we relate to them in life, so we all, and Heather, we all, except for maybe Greg, I'm not so sure, but maybe he does in his own way. We're all involved with, channeling in some sort. So, yeah. Okay. Let me see where I am next. So, Jan.
Okay.
So, this mesmerizing look, I should have gotten my glasses.
You can get them. Go get them.
Okay, I'll run for 30 minutes.
Talk amongst ourselves.
So I did write this morning from this Aaron Carter that just died, young artist and brother of one of the boy bands. I forgot the name of the band, but that was very touching, very honest. They're very honest. They, like Catherine Ann says, they there's nothing to hide after we die.
Yeah.
So when they come to speak to us, there's no manipulation. I think that's why I have more friends on the other side now. I definitely have many more people on the other side that I know than in the living. And I'm grateful because they're all good people.
Yeah. No, your stuff that you channel from them is amazing.
And then the higher levels, actually, Catherine Ann mentioned who talked about Northrop's interview, and she's getting into the galactics and talking about the galactics. And they told me last year that this was going to be a big year for exposure of the galactic beings. And that's another thing that was added to the offerings of the writings and the channelings. And that's been fascinating, really. Something happened recently. I don't know if this is a good time to do that, though. I'm going to share that story now. Let's see if we get into more galactic stuff, and then I'll share that if it's appropriate.
Oh, I'll come back to you. Okay. So back to Jan.
Okay.
This mesmerizing look at a soul's golden, absolutely genius path to higher dimensions unlocks for the reader a new and detailed awareness of their own sacred journey home. Catherine Ann allows us to see the intricate details designed by her soul to take her to an ever-expanding higher vibration in preparation for the completion of her earthly mission, an ascension into the higher realms. She and her soul dance with magical, mystical, delicate steps to the music of wisdom, love, laughter, sorrow, fun, adventure, overwhelm, and tears. And we are invited to partake. Thank you, Catherine Ann, for this life-changing experience.
And thank you, Catherine Ann. For me, reading this manuscript was, number one, your life has been absolutely fascinating and also very difficult. Yeah, and the degree of difficulty spoke to me that what an old, very evolved soul you are. Otherwise, you would not have been able to contract for a life like you have led. But as I read the book, and I too have had some similar experiences as some of that you have had, been to some of the places you've been to, was totally odd that you hike the Holly Trail. That just amazes me. I would not do that. But I looked at it and thought about it. I could see it's we've already heard how beautifully one event led to the other, and how they built on each other, and how perfectly it was orchestrated. So that gave me this very special gift of being able to do the same with my life as I read the manuscript and then as I thought about it later. So I could say my life has been so beautifully orchestrated for me, for my journey home. And I can also see, we read so much about vibration and doing this little thing and that little thing to raise your vibration, but I could see what the soul was doing from my birth, from your birth, to now, to raise our core vibration so much higher and take us to a higher evolution of our soul and our life. And I am just very, very grateful for what that allowed me to experience. It was life-changing for me, and to anyone who reads this book, I'm certain it will be life-changing for them too. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Yeah. And what's interesting, Jan and I talk about being in Debbie Ford's integrated coaching certification course that we took in 2001. There were like 80 of us in that course. It wasn't until I met Jan through the enlightenment group here that we discovered we were both in that course together. Never knew it, never knew each other back then, and just figured it out recently. And I found a picture that we're both in. Pretty wild. Yeah, it was a big surprise. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Okay, Salvatore, you're up. I love a book that takes me on a journey. This latest book by Ann Clemett does exactly that. Her journey through all the twists and turns, multiple seemingly mishaps, or perhaps divine intervention, had me following the writing while watching a movie in my mind. I could literally see the scenes as she was describing them. This experience was so vivid, I suggested she write the screenplay. It seems the right time to start telling our life's adventures through a spiritual lens. Ann does just that.
Thanks for rereading that, because I couldn't find it to remember what I said, right? But
yeah, well, that's what Ann said too. Yeah.
So, it couldn't be more true, though, that I meant exactly what I said, because the latest thing that's happening to me, even when people just tell their story now, if it's a screenplay, I see the scenes. So I think it started, though, when I read your book, and I literally saw all the scenes with you in it, with the people, with the players, the characters, the players. And I don't know if that's an insight to future projects, but that was the amazing personal experience, as well as, oh my God, how did she survive this? I mean, I must have said that at least 40 times, like, oh my God, how did she get there? Oh, how's she going to get out of that? Oh, why did she do it? I found myself yelling and thinking, what is with her? Why did she go there? Like, you would be in a movie going, oh my God, don't make that turn. Don't go in that room. Don't open that door, And I just was, I meant this when I said this before. Some of it was very painful for me to watch, because when I first met Ann, and I used to go to and listen to her speak wherever she spoke, and I was there, I would always cry when she spoke, because all right, don't say, people that know me know I cry a lot, right? But it's always a reason why I'm crying. And I believe in Ann's case, because of the Jesus connection and the soul connection to that timeline, I think that was one of the pieces, one of the glue elements that has me so moved when you speak. And it happened when you were speaking when we started the call and I finally got in here. You were speaking again and I'm watching you and I started to have this inner reaction. And sometimes I can't explain it. I don't have the words. Similar to what Claire said before when she's talking about the multidimensional energies, sometimes you get tongue-tied. You're like, I know what I'm experiencing, right, but there's no English words,
right,
to
absolutely
explain these experiences. And I think, getting back to the theme of the book and the events as they unfold, like everyone is so beautifully saying, there was a natural order, whether I was cringing and screaming. I could see the natural order of events. And if I was there, I'd probably be dragging her out of those experiences. Like, you don't need to do this. Get out of here, But, so, I like to joke a lot, but the journey was very intense. And the reader will feel that the more that they open, if you have an open heart when you're reading this book, or if your heart opens when you're reading it, because that's probably what's going to happen, people are going to read the book and they're going to start having heart responses because they're going to plug in their own life experiences and the situations that we're in. And hopefully we'll all get final clearing on some of this stuff so we don't have to repeat it again. But yeah, it was a trip. It was a real trip to read. And I think it would have been easier if I didn't know you, if we had never met.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But the fact I knew you, there was a lot of attachment to, oh my God, that was really hard, So it was just, it was very heartfelt for me. Very heartfelt.
Thank you. I just let it all hang out, obviously. So a really good friend, Karen Holden, that used to come to the Arizona group before she moved to South Carolina, and she made me absolutely promise her that I'm going to let all of my siblings and my family know that I'm launching this book next week so they don't hear it from someone else, because I certainly go into a whole bunch of family issues and dysfunctional childhood. And I'm like, okay, do it. So, anyway.
But I think they would relate to a lot of what you went through in terms of their own growing pains, considering their dad and his issues. So I think they would have a lot in common with you in that regards.
Yeah, and my father.
And they may write their own books one day, Catherine, and we'll have a video thing with them.
Yeah.
And you'll be exposed.
No,
you are. So.
The book, can I add this? The book reminds me of allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. And, Brene Brown was the one that put the word vulnerability into mass consciousness, and she did it almost by accident. So when you write a book like this about your personal journey and you let it all hang out, I think that that's a necessary part of helping the masses to, for maybe lack of a better word, maybe integrate their experiences in a much more healthy way and perceiving them, which your book does so eloquently, perceiving the experiences from a different angle. Because, when we go through these things, the grief and the pain and the scars sometimes, they rear their ugly head again down the road, right, from some trigger or something that happens. And hopefully, by people continuing to tell their stories like this and making movies from these stories, people can really heal at these core levels and look back at those things a little bit more in neutrality. without the triggers and the emotional charge and the words we use to describe that kind of thing. And I think that's where we're headed. I think this time that we're in is mass purging, releasing, clearing on a probably the largest scale the earth has ever had. And I think that the book just adds to tapestry of that clearing, and I hope people can receive it that way. I really do. I'd like to hear some really triumphant stories from you about people that wrote in after they read it and said, I finally healed this scar, that I've carried for years. That would be the greatest reward from this book. Really.
Oh, absolutely. And, I hope that, Claire and I both feel this way, that what we share and write and put out there, helps people to, look at their own lives and integrate what's there for them. So. Yeah. Okay. Barry. Okay. I will always be grateful to Catherine for coming into my life in 1980. This was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. I have been quite an admirer of her adventurous nature, inquiring mind, and creative talent. In this book, Catherine shares a wondrous journey of her life's experiences. She inspires us with her vivid and colorful recounting of events, tireless pursuit to find truth, and refreshing candor in uneasy times.
And she cut a lot more that I had to say. She said, it's too long, it's too long. I kept saying to her, no, it's still too long. So
I did.
Okay, that's where I get it. I get it.
Well, now you can say it now.
Claire
say it now.
And I loved your intro, Claire. I loved all your intros so far. But the book too, obviously, Anna and Grandmother Jesus. So yes. Okay. So I met Catherine at an event. I was doing primal therapy back in 1975, and I was kind of a nervous wreck, and nothing was going right. And primal therapy got me grounded, got me through a lot of my anger, got me to meet Catherine finally, because I did 5 years of that. And then Spirit went, you're ready. You are ready for great change. And I was the most unspiritual person in the world. Didn't believe in reincarnation or anything. My dad was very much into reincarnation, and I used to poo-poo that, unfortunately. But when I met Catherine, the light bulb turned on. We were at this event. She does this little intro tape from what we called Actualism, which was Light Work School. And we're out, it's September, it's a beautiful night, and she can't believe this guy, Barry, is like, wow, he's like just turning on like to this unknown thing. It's like, and suddenly there was like this flash of light in the sky, and somebody had told me that's heat lightning. I didn't know there was such a thing, So I think the universe was talking to me and saying, welcome, your journey begins now. So Catherine got me on that journey. I got into light work. We eventually did Rampa just 3 months later. When it rains, it pours. I want to say I think Diane said something much earlier about one thing leads to the other, to the next, to the next, to the next. It's been a chain of events since that all started back in 1980. My life today is, I have a lot of treasures in my life. I would have been rotting away in New York City had I not been open to change. And Catherine was, bless you, Catherine was one of the runners, people that came into my life to say, okay, you're on course now. And the sales have always been there, sending me to where and Spirit, I trust in Spirit so wholeheartedly now that there's nothing that really stands in my way. I'm not afraid of dying either. I used to have a great fear of death, but I mean, we could all share that aspect of knowing that what's the unknown. You, Salvatore, have been communicating with others. I find that intriguing. that they find you as a vessel is really very cool. So you obviously have something that they need when they pass over, and you've given them that, and they've shared a lot with you, obviously. Anyway, I just want to say that I'm really excited about where this planet is going. We have crazy politics going on, but I think what the work you're doing, Catherine, what all of you are doing, adds to the whole, adds to the vision to bring in the light into this planet, to earth it, that people are not in fear anymore, that people are in their abundance, that we have free energy finally one day, as Tesla tried to give us. I think we're all headed that way. We have to get through the bullshit of all this politics and need and me. And I think we're going in the right direction. So bless you all, these beautiful entities in front of me, because you are my reflection. And I cannot have done anything without my wonderful reflections in this life.
Wow. Thank you, Barry. Thank you. Okay. Greg. Catherine Ann Clemett is a gifted empath who provides hope and essence to thrive in today's disrupted world. She channels you into new spaces. Move over, Marianne Williamson.
Wow.
So where do you want me to start, Catherine? You know?
I'll pick place.
Okay. I hadn't heard from Catherine in 20 some odd years. And, you know, she had her path. I had my path. My path was basically being married, having kids, and doing other stuff. And I heard from Catherine about 3-4 months ago, just out of the blue. And it was interesting because by definition, I would call it a synchronicity. Now, I'm an engineer. I don't use multisyllabics. Synchronicity is with 5 syllables. It's a little bit beyond my ability. But it was interesting. The timing was right. And I think synchronicity means the timing is right. And in my case, I would essentially say that opportunity, meaning me, met profit, P-H-E-T, in Catherine. And there are a lot of things I had to learn or relearn again, because when I was young, you know, I grew up in Ojai, California, the most woo-woo of towns. I used to go to Big Sur in Nepenthe and drop every type of drug you could possibly think of. And then basically I became a tech, and I didn't touch it for 30 some odd years. But I've obviously been interested recently because in Oregon, now of all things, we're the mecca of weed. And now January 1st, psilocybin will be legal in Oregon. So we're at the center of something. So, you know, as a sort of a, I don't know, I'm interested in that area. The thing that I was really captivated by Catherine's book was her journey. And it's an interesting journey. Why? Because I think we're going through very disruptive times. Everything seems to be volatile, uncertain, complex, and a little bit ambiguous. And you could see it with the elections tomorrow. But more importantly, we as people are having a very hard time adjusting. And I think we need voices for that. And I think Catherine Ann, can be a voice of patience, a voice of gratitude, a voice of grace. And essentially I said, this is interesting. I'm a capitalist. And I said, maybe we could capture that voice, not only in a book, which I read, but maybe through other media. And the other media in this case would be short form TikTok videos. And one would be an app that we're developing. It's called the Working It app. We own workingit.com. Our app is going to be Working It. And the idea basically is we need to have new voices for this new generation who can explain, resonate, and raise their frequency, to use Catherine's favorite expression, right? Because this new generation, and by the way, my daughter is 22, right behind me somewhere, flat in terms of many aspects. And I think Catherine's expression, whether it's the book, through short form videos, or through other forms of media, I think could become very electric. So anyway, thank you very much for the opportunity of touching base, reconnecting, and learning from you, Catherine. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. And what's interesting is when we were friends and I was working for Greg, only a birth that I ever attended was the birth of his daughter, Margot, who's now 22. And the last time I saw her, she was an infant.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So now she goes, you know, she helps me with tech stuff too sometimes. She's another techie person.
Yeah, I think Catherine's work is about humanity. And I think that's a very important thing, because we don't have that anymore. Interestingly, on another side, I'm spending a lot of time doing artificial intelligence. I'm an engineer by trade, and we have a number of national initiatives looking at machines and how smart machines. I'm giving 5 talks in the next 2 weeks on that. So I'm probably pretty familiar with the topic. And it's interesting how Catherine's book and artificial intelligence, or at least some semblance of sentience, can start meeting together. But anyway, Catherine, thank you very much for the opportunity. I've learned a lot from you, and blessings.
Thank you, Greg. And I've learned a lot from you too. It's mutual.
Basically, how to push the right buttons. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Heather. I had known part of Catherine Ann's life story before I read her book. By the time I finished reading, was it easy? Reading it, and it is hard to put it down, I was in awe of how she even survived up till now. It's an amazing story of continuous miracles, synchronicities, and plot twists. You'll love it.
Right. And now, speaking of the synchronicity, when Catherine and I went up to a conference in Vegas in November last year, she was doing her talk. You know, she was being a speaker at the conference, and so I was just there helping her. And she was doing a talk there, and I think like 2 times I saw that, and I thought, you know what? We have her in our backyard. You know, here she is speaking, and she's got this amazing story, and she's like right here. I mean, we should be taking, we want to take more advantage of the fact that she's here to help us out. And yeah, and I absolutely, the biggest thing I got out of that book is I can't even believe you're still alive. Survived that adventure. Good for you.
Well, from the get-go, apparently, you know, since my mother was only 6.5 months pregnant when I was born, you know, I had a reading, and they said I kept trying to leave and go home, and the guys kept pushing me back into my infant body. So, you know, trying to escape the whole time, I think.
Can't get out of it.
Yeah, really. Well, they're still pushing me back in my body.
Love that.
Yeah,
really good. And like I said, it was real easy to read.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting because I know you thought you knew all the stories.
No, no, I heard a lot of them. And that's, you know, there was a lot in there I hadn't heard.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you've heard some of the spiritual related stories, but not the life related stories.
And all that. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So anyways, anyone have anything else they want to say? I'm really so grateful that you're all, and to hear everything you're all saying is just really mind-blowing, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. So
glad to help you out.
Yes, well, thank you. And hopefully it'll help other people understand, you know, their lives.
Where is this going to be posted, Catherine Ann?
Hopefully it'll all go smoothly. I'm going to send it out to my mailing list if I can get it out the list. I'm going to post it on Facebook. I'm probably going to post it in Telegram, maybe. I haven't done that yet. Wherever I can find a place to post it, I'm going to post it.
Put it out there.
And any other ideas anybody has that I might not be aware of, I'm definitely open to.
I think it would be really powerful if you could take little snippets of
Yeah.
the different things people said for Facebook, because it's an hour and people aren't going to spend an hour watching a video, but just a little snippet, you know, and that's the teaser, right?
Yeah.
Little snippet of what Barry says, a little snippet of what Greg said, I said, Jan, you know, that will be, and you do them at different times. So you're engaging all the time with,
that's a
especially
good-
Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And short and sweet is good. You know, that's just because if it's longer than 5 minutes, I'm just like, nope.
I think 30 seconds is actually the
Limit.
the generation right now. I think their attention span is about 30 to 45 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that'd be good.
Great idea.
You know, I got to say something about that.
Okay.
Of course. What?
How much do you think you can really accomplish in 30 to 45 seconds? Now, I don't mean for getting the news out about a project. That's fine. But what gets me in our society is so many people think they got it in a minute. Name one person that did anything of value in a minute, unless you were saving a drowning person.
the 30 to 45 seconds is the hook.
You're right. That's
That's all it is. It's just a hook.
right.
Yeah.
So you throw that line into the water with the hook, and when the fish grabs, and you grab the fish, you know, you grab it, then you've got your hour, your 2 hours, the book, they buy the book, they read the book, you know, then that's when your teaching comes in.
Mhm.
It's just a hook.
Yeah.
I got to remember that.
Good.
Hook.
Good.
Hook. The hook. You know, the hook used to be a bad thing. If you were on stage and got the hook, it wasn't good. Now all of a sudden, we need hooks.
But this is a hook with a really, really high vibrational bait.
Right.
Right? You got to remember that the bait is a very high vibrational bait. So, you know, it's you could probably go a whole minute. Minute and a half, whatever.
That's what Greg has been talking to me about since we reconnected, is doing these 1 minute videos.
Yeah.
You know, which is going to be the next learning curve.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
all
I've
of
been
us-
honored to be.
Take 60 seconds out of all of you guys over and over and over again.
That's it. Well, there's enough in each one of what we said that you can take a little bit out. I mean, you have a lot of content here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
use it wisely, darling. It's lovingly
Yeah.
given.
Yeah. I'm so grateful. Yeah.
I've been honored to be on this stage with all of you.
Me too.
This was fun. I have to say, I've never done eight people on here. This worked really well.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Especially those of us that have the right color on.
Exactly.
Mike is almost in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Terry and Claire and I didn't get a memo.
We have a little right here.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Pink socks.
Hey, by the way, speaking of colors,
Yeah.
I just have to add this. I've done, I don't know about you guys, I've done tremendous meditation and focus for the Ukrainian people. I love them. I hate what Putin has done. And I went through a period of doing several days, and then I went to work, and so I got dressed, and I'm at work, and I realized that the only shirt I have has blue and yellow on it. And those are their colors. And I said, my God. I was like,
Isn't that funny?
my prayers are answered. They're thanking me on some level, you
Yeah.
know. But I continue to do a lot of support and meditation for their peaceful or peaceful resolution to all this craziness going on there. And God knows Putin is a madman, and his reckoning, his day will come when somebody's going to bring him down, and I hope that happens soon. My opinion.
I know.
For what it's worth.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to go make dinner.
Yeah, we got.
Thank you.
Good to
It's
see
truly
you.
been wonderful to be with
It
all
was
of you.
great to meet
Thank
you.
so much, Catherine.
Great to meet you, Greg. Great to meet you, Claire.
Just meet all you guys.
Great to meet you, Barry. Nice to see you
Greg,
all.
good to meet you.
Yeah.
So
Take
grateful to all of you.
Thank you, Catherine Ann.
Thank you, Catherine Ann.
Sure.
Thank
you.
Well, you'll all get a copy of this.
Okay.
Yay.
Nice. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay. See you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Thanks.
That was really great, Catherine Ann.
Yes, I'm so glad you made it on here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it felt important.
Good. I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Now.
Stop the recording.
Yeah, stop the recording.